From the Flash Bryant Studios, this is the Blaze and Access podcast, amplifying disability perspective, one story at a time. I'm Blaze Bryant. Today is June 22nd, the 27th anniversary of the Olmstead Supreme Court decision that essentially said disabled people must be able to live in the most integrated setting possible. I'm Blaze Bryant here. You heard the open of the Flash Bryant Studios, and that is the new name here because, well, I hope I can get through this. Last Thursday, my first seeing eye dog, Flash, who guided me through life from 2014, August 20th, 2014, until he retired. It was November 26th of 2023. Well, Flash got to run free from pain, kidney issues, doggy dementia. The past year, he just had not been well, and his health was declining quite a bit, in particular over the past few weeks. But I don't want to spend too much time on that now because later this week, I'm going to do my first deck cast of the year, paying tribute to Flash, because that's certainly the most appropriate place to do it. And I've got a lot of memories, stories that I'll share then. But what I'm sharing with you now is this has just been the most difficult time in my life, dealing with the declining health and then having my hand on him when he took his final breath. And certainly there's a peace that comes with that, but yet just an unimaginable amount of grief that I'm just trying to hold it together here, to be perfectly straight up with you. So as I also said here a couple of minutes ago, it's the 27th anniversary of the Olmstead Supreme Court decision. I log on to work today, and I'm trying to remember what the name of that Beatles song is, but it goes, "I heard the news today, oh boy." And that is what immediately popped in my head, because I took a few days off last week just to deal with everything with Flash. And I see that the Department of Justice is trying to say to states, hey, this Olmstead thing about community integration, you don't need to do that. Yet, pretty much all the literature over the past, I don't know, almost 30 years says, yeah, you do, with respect to making sure that disabled people are in the most integrated setting possible. Ideally, that's home, but there might be cases where they're in a group home or assisted living facility. And unfortunately, there are still some disabled folks who are put in nursing homes because that either is the only option or they're being told that's the only option, which just makes very little sense to me. How here we are in 2026 and we're still holding people hostage. So the thing to note here, specific to this memo, is it's just an opinion from the Department of Justice. It's not the end-all be-all. The sky is cracking, it's cracked, but it's not falling, because this would also have to survive a public comment period. It'd have to clear the lower level courts before it gets to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court already said that the Olmstead decision is what it is with respect to community integration. Granted, None of those justices, actually Clarence Thomas, I think, is the only one who was on the Supreme Court then when this was decided in 1999. So it's just very, very, very odd, interesting, angering times we are living in. And I just wonder, when are the attacks? And it's not just from the Trump administration. It's not just from Republicans. Democrats are guilty of this too. And they're a little bit more sneaky about it because, we want to make sure that everyone has the right to live free in the community. But when it comes to funding those services, we don't want to do that. Or when it comes to policies around medical aid and dying, they don't necessarily want to do that. Because really, the big issue with respect to medical aid and dying or assisted suicide and disability comes down to two things. Number one, the medical field views this as broken. I've said on the show before, I'll say it again. 2021 study from Harvard, I think it was Harvard, said that 72% of doctors do not feel comfortable treating patients with disabilities. 72%. Just try and wrap your head around that. And these are professionals who've taken an oath. Yep, that's where we are. I just wonder when these attacks on our community are going to stop. And this is frankly why I'm asking you to support the show at the end of every episode. Because preserving disability rights is essential. Preserving disability history is essential. Being able to tell these stories is essential. Because if we don't have that, we're screwed. We really are screwed. Gosh. It is the worst Monday of my professional career. And I've been working in this disability rights space for 12 years. It's the worst Monday because, A, this is the first work day without Flash, either being in an office with me or being home with me. And B, well, because of that, logging on and seeing this stuff, then figuring out a communications plan for how we want to handle this for work, it's just I don't have the energy, the mental whatever. I'm only recording this here because it's been a while since I've talked to you. And I've posted about Flash on my social media. And also wanted to take this opportunity to talk about Olmstead, which I explained the short and sweet of it, but there were these two women, Lois Curtis and Elaine Wilson, who were disabled women. They've both passed. They were in nursing homes simply because they had a disability. They wanted to get out. The state of Georgia was like, no, you can't. You can't get out. And their case moved all the way up to the Supreme Court. That's when they got their freedom. It's such critical legislation. It's such a critical decision, not so much legislation. But trying to roll this back, weakening the Americans with Disabilities Act, weakening Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act around disability discrimination and serving people. I'm just done with it. I'm just done. I'm frankly feeling broken, discouraged, defeated, questioning how the hell we're going to make change when people on both sides don't want to listen. When elected officials on both sides, generally speaking, just care about getting from one election to the other, treating it like baseball, being aspirational about higher office. I just wonder when we're all going to come together as a community and just say, this shit's got to stop. We need to be intentional about making change, not just talking about the need, then not funding it, and making things worse off. So, what do I have coming up here that I'm going to plug real quick? Later this week, I'm going to try and do the Deckcast tribute for Flash. It's rainy here today. It's supposed to be that way tomorrow. So, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, get something done. I'd love to be able to do that. And people have left some wonderful messages and comments, and I truly appreciate it. I haven't had the chance to really respond to anything. That's what's in part gotten me through this. And I've got a Disability Pride series. Got an episode that was taped a couple of weeks ago. A really cool conversation with my friend Taylor, who newly became blind, and just her journey on that and a bunch of other stuff. Got some other chats in the works here that I'll be doing throughout the month of July. The Disability Pride series is going to be airing, and that's where we are. So thank you for being here. Anything you can do to support the show, super appreciate it. BlazinShows.com. That's BLAISIN shows.com. Because the honest truth is, our rights, our history, and our ability to tell these stories is at risk if we don't put our money where our mouths are. Whatever you're able to do, I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it, and will reach out personally to thank you. And for businesses, I've got opportunities for you too. I'll be rolling those out hopefully this week as well, or next week. Just a bit behind on things, just with everything going on, and I'm going to wrap this up saying this is Blaze Bryant. You are listening to or watching the Blaze and Access podcast, amplifying disability perspective, one story at a time. Thank you for being a friend.